Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. We are back, and most importantly, Hibs are back. You and Craig, we're on. Very fair to Liam. He had a work commitment, that's why he's down in London. We understand that and accept it. But Craig, how are you getting on, mate?
I am Fandaby Dozy. Hibs are back in, 3-4 days' time from now. The bag has been partially packed ahead of the trip, so looking forward to this week.
You were on for less than 3 seconds before getting roasted. Does that make you feel like Hibs are actually back?
Absolutely. I'm glad that work commitments are now an acceptable reason for missing episodes. You know, even ones that were planned weeks in advance, as opposed to last minute random Friday night ones. Very jealous of you boys. I'm absolutely buzzing that Hibs are back in competitive action. I'll be totally honest and say that I have not really indulged in any friendly watching. I've seen a decent amount of the Bolton game, but really couldn't give two fucks. So really looking forward to Thursday night. When are you boys off? When he's away?
Wednesday morning, first thing, away to Dublin.
Was it Edinburgh, Dublin, then over to Copenhagen?
Dublin to Copenhagen, then a train down from Copenhagen to Herning. So it's
like difficult.
Hallmarks of a European trip.
You flying back over Scotland? You flying from Edinburgh, then back over Edinburgh to get to Copenhagen? Is my geography about right there? Going left to go right?
Mate, I have no idea. Pass. Keep me out of that.
Long day.
It's going to be a nice early morning. What you got? I think Craig's going to stay at mine on Tuesday night, and then we're going to probably wake up at maybe like 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning. So it's a proper shift to get to these away days.
Is it just the two of you, or is your sister going as well?
I don't care what she's doing these days anyway. But with the Hibs game coming up, I know you mentioned friendlies briefly. I don't really care about any of the action, but it does feel apt to talk about Darren McGregor. Obviously, unfortunately, couldn't end up playing in his own testimonial, but he turned into a cult hero, even though he didn't play too many years for Hibs. He's been around for ages now.
100%. If I was being totally honest, I don't really get why he was having a testimonial. I don't like. He played for us for what, 6 years or something. Like, genuine, absolute hero, cup winner. Obviously, an absolute shame that he couldn't play in the game that was dedicated for him for sort of, you know, he's was it a car crash? Am I right in saying? Looks fantastic for having been in a car crash just a matter of weeks, to be fair to him. But no, what an absolute hero. Do you know, I was thinking about this actually in the lead up to the game, not to take us off on our first tangent, but do you think Darren McGregor benefits from like not coming through the academy at Hibs? You know, like he gets all the Hibs fan. I'm a Hibs fan, born and bred. Like do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Whereas if you look at like a Paul Hanlon or Josh Campbell, who got a lot of criticism. Like, do you think the fact that you don't spend all that time with them when you come in, you just make it so pronounced that you're a Hibs fan and stuff that adds to it? Or I don't know. Like,
maybe I think maybe some of them get the hanging around sort of tar across their name. Like you said, Stevenson, Hanlon, Josh Campbell, they were the typical ones that always got maybe more criticism and flack than other players would get. And especially, like you say, that you would think being a Hibs fan through and through that these things would go in their benefit. But I'm just glad that Daz had a decent enough career, all things considered, and especially at Hibs. Yeah. I know you're saying, kind of question why he's getting testimony. I think the cup winner and being a Hibs fan, I think those two things just together, and the kind of guy he is, smashing through Don Cowie, that type of thing. I think that gets him a testimonial.
To be fair, I feel like it is something, Harry, that's going out of football. The way you don't see testimonials loads these days, but like I feel like we've had quite a lot. And would that be the sort of fourth one in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, 5 years maybe? I think, in fact, Lewis Stevenson was probably even longer ago than that. I think it was his Sunderland or something like many moons ago now. But you know, Stevenson, Hanlon, David Gray had one. Is that right? I think last year, and now Dan McGregor. Like it feels like something that isn't all that common, but is very common down Easter Road.
Yeah, well, being honest, lads, I was expecting us to be like Darren McGregor was a big, handsome, hard-hitting bastard and then kind of move on. But if you want to talk about testimonials, what else we got?
Can I ask, is there still a massive like financial benefit for the players?
I was literally about to say,
is that what it's about?
Because obviously back in the day, it used to be when players would retire, you would give them a testimonial, and all the money for the match would go to them, and it would kind of be like a final payoff. But I think that was before like money was turned to like the stupid money that we get today. So it probably plays part of the reason. But for Stevenson and Hanlon, it both went to the foundation, didn't it?
Yes.
So proceeds. I don't know if they maybe took some of it. I'm not sure.
I think these days it's just if you're a good guy.
Ben Kensel probably made them pay for it.
Oh,
do you know, Ben Kensel probably made them pay for the fucking table at their end. Remember that came out after the game against Motherwell where they were like honouring them, and was it Mikey Stewart was on the radio saying the family were having to pay for a table of hospitality. They weren't even getting it for free or whatever.
Didn't have enough good football people at the club. That was what's wrong.
Season 6 down the slope, and we're still hammering Ben Kensel. He's been away 6 months. Perfect.
Well, that is how we do. But guys, I'm going to take us in order. Is there anything else on any of the friendlies that you want to talk about? Being honest, I didn't catch any of them. Our viewpoint on the pod, I want to speak for everybody, but I'm going to. Friendlies don't matter. It's about getting minutes in the legs and getting them ready, especially when you've got as big a tie coming up as we do. If we went 100% at Bolton and then came away with 2 or 3 knocks, I think we would have all been raging. So I don't really care. Is there any other comments on the friendlies? Are you happy? Oh, one thing we should say: the Essen. I don't know if should start the name, but the Essen friendly, that looked like a laugh, to be fair.
That was good. I was at it. It definitely did not have the friendly feeling to it. It felt like an actual game. I don't know if them bringing a good number of away fans, and there was just a bit of an atmosphere at it. Like, if I'd come out of that being a league game, I'd have been well satisfied with what I got, especially for a tenner as well. So that's probably one of the only friends in my life I've actually enjoyed.
And Carlisle away.
Harry, I think friendlies serve their purpose, but I mean, it's probably a bit contradictory. Look, if Hibs win them all, then sure, be buzzing. But I just don't look into it too much. We beat Arsenal, didn't we, a couple of years ago, and then we finished 7th or 8th. Do you know what I mean? Like, proceeded to have 3 managers that season between.
There is some conclusions you can draw from it, though. Like there is some little trends that you could maybe draw from it, but I think overall, like you say, it's just that's minutes into it, and context is massively needed. Obviously, I've seen a few losing the head over a couple of the friendlies. The Ajax one. Ajax are a world class team, like with world class players, and especially that number 11. By the way, he was a player. So I think you have to put it in context for what it is.
I do think you'll get more from playing an Ajax and being on the end of a sore one than you would, especially for preparation sort of for European games, than you would if we played
Edinburgh City.
Aye, and beat them 6-0 at Meadowbank. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just in the same way, like, you know, you play Bournemouth, you lose to Bournemouth, obviously nobody's seen any of that game, but we've played a decent standard opposition and done okay. Look, Bolton, our League One side, I think if both teams are 100%, Hibs would beat them, but if the game on Saturday, I think the players are running at 60%. Like, do you know what I mean? It is just a case of getting minutes in the legs and avoiding injury for what is a massive game on Thursday night.
Nice. Right, well, friendlies be no more. Moving on. Next, I'm going to talk transfers, guys. I'm going to move on to the transfers. So just to confirm, correct me if I've missed anyone. Outgoings from the club, we saw Dylan Vente, Noah Kenna, Nathan Rye Welsh, Jair Tavares, and Alan Del Ferrier. I think maybe Vente, some people at the start of the summer were saying potentially could have featured in the squad. I think after he left on loan last year, it was clear Gray didn't want him. So apart from that, everybody else kind of like part of the rebuild that we all wanted from last year. It's kind of getting rid of the deadwood as such, Ewan. Is that fair to say?
Aye, 100%. Yeah, I think it's interesting. As the season went on, it felt like there would be less and less sort of turnover of players, but we still did get quite a number out the door in January. And like the names you just listed there, there's probably only maybe. I'm trying to think back to last summer and players that would have been contracted last summer. Maybe we would have been thinking that Eliuam would have been away, but that would have been for a fee. You know, we would have thought. I'm trying to think of anyone else that we would have definitely wanted out the door. I don't know, maybe Campbell, you know, like that, like just like no, like not us, just in general terms, people, you know, like we like sort of. It feels like a lot less turbulent than what we thought it would be. However, we've still got rid of what we.
It's because we've won some games, mate.
Aye, like, but no, it makes there's nobody that's left that shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And I've said the last time we recorded, Venti had just left. Like, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? It didn't work. We've made a little bit of money on it. Like, that's cool. Do you know? These things happen. I think there will be 3 or 4 still to go, though, if I'm being totally honest, between now and sort of the end of the window.
Well, can I say that and not drop names, mate? Get them dished it.
I think Murray Johnson will be away in one shape or form, be that on loan or permanently. I think one of, if not both, of Marvin Ekpiteta and Warren O'Hara will leave and be replaced. Midfield, don't know. I think there could still potentially be some movement in that area of the pitch. Obviously, Mariah Welsh has already moved on. Yeah, so maybe they would be the ones that sort of spring your mind immediately. So it's maybe 2 or 3 as opposed to 3 or 4. Yeah, and that's not to say that we don't need the bodies. I think we'll still be active in trying to improve the squad. The Murray Johnson one's an interesting one though, because obviously Freddie Owens, is that the young goalie's name? He's obviously away at East Kilbride, so like, how does that work? Would we then need to bring in a third choice goalkeeper? So maybe we would be reluctant to let Murray Johnson go. But then as for the 2 centre backs, I'm actually pretty certain at least one of them will move on.
And Craig, just getting you in, one player that Ewan didn't mention, but there's been press around Lewis Miller. What's your thoughts on that situation?
I would have taken $1 million. I know that was the sort of fee that was getting banded about and has been offered. For a year left in his contract, I would have taken it. I'm glad we haven't, because he's definitely developed into a massively important player for us towards the end of last season. And I think you could see that 3/5 at the back was working really, really well when he was in there, because Miller and Cadden were able to just dovetail perfectly with each other. So I think it would be a sort of noticeable loss if we did lose him. However, I think if the $1 million fee that was getting talked about, we would have more than enough to go out and get some sort of replacement. I'm sure they'd be able to find somebody that offers the physical attributes that Lewis Miller would give a Hibs team.
Yeah, I knew I forgot one. Megwa. I don't think Megwa will be a contracted Hibs player come the 1st or 2nd of September.
Almost as in like on loan or gone from the club?
Gone from the club. Not good enough.
You were quite outspoken about that 3-year deal. Was it 3 year or 4 year?
4 years, I think, last summer, I think. I don't know. I just don't think he's good enough. I know, and maybe I've went too early on what is still a younger player, but just don't see it, to be honest. I've seen a little bit of part at Thistle in the playoff games and a couple of Friday night games, and I don't know, if you're wanting to compete at Hibs, you should at least be a standout in any. Actually, if I'm being honest, in the games I've seen him play for part of Thistle, I thought he was poor as opposed to okay. Talking about Lewis Miller moving on, if Lewis Miller moves on, then I think we need 2 players that can play that position. Because I really, if I'm being totally honest, like we said, see, like Rudy, if Rudy plays 15, 20 first team games this year, I'm comfortable with that. If we have to play Megwa 15, 20 times this year, I would have concerns over that.
So, see if Lewis Miller does go, does that then put you in the scenario where you would then need to recruit a right central defender for the back 3 and a right wing back? Because at the moment with Lewis Miller, I was kind of thinking you're almost set in that area with O'Hara and Ekpiteta to come in, and then you've got obviously a Beta who can play centre half, but with losing Miller just one number, that kind of eliminates 2 positions.
It depends. I don't think so, because we've got Mulligan and obviously Cadden that can play right wing back. So then maybe you could maybe replace Miller with just a centre back that's comfortable in the wide position. And I mean, I think Hibs are well within their rights to be pushing for whatever they deem an adequate transfer fee, because Miller is even more so than Iredale on the left, I think, the perfect profile to play on the right-hand side of that back 3, where he's competent enough defensively. He's physical enough. He's strong enough, but he also carries a threat going forward. I'd be quite disappointed if Miller was to move on. But obviously, I mean, if you can push upwards of £1 million for a player, Harry, like, you know, that's it very quickly becomes just a deal that you have to make to, you know, just to keep going through, like, to regenerate the
Wait
squad.
a second. Did somebody say, you know, I love a segue. Did somebody say upwards of £1 million? Did somebody say Hibs broke their transfer record? Yes. Welcome to the club. I'm going to butcher this. It's the first time. Forgive me. T-ball Klidgé.
That works for me.
I'm going with Klidgé.
Klidgé.
I've seen somebody spelling it out on Twitter, and I've also heard a YouTube video. Somebody pronounced it. A YouTube video was from some Togo game, and the boy said Klidgé. And I've also seen somebody on Twitter spell it out. Klidgé.
I'm sure we'll find out very quickly.
The accent, though, on the E, does that normally like an A? That's why I thought
that's with either we A at the end, so Klidgé.
Aye. All right, well, I like it, boys. I was very occupied last weekend, and this, to be fair to the club, this is why Fabrizio Romano's of the world should piss off. This was very entertaining. I woke up, didn't expect a signing. We broke a transfer record on a random player I'd never heard of. That Sunday morning, football, guys. That is football. Have any used on any investigating? What are we getting excited about here?
I've done as much, and I go on. You go.
Sorry, I was trying to fill the silence there. I would think we've got a pacey guy. He actually this is just purely from YouTube highlights. It looks like he's quite handy in the air. He's got a good leap on him. But I think pacey. That's the overriding thing that I took from it. I don't know what else you got.
No, I just, from reading and looking at, I mean, I'm never really that sure on how accurate things like FootMob and transfer. I always say transfer market. It's not transfer market, is it? But are in terms of positions that players play on the pitch, like especially in your sort of non-top 5 leagues. You know, I don't know how much attention they really pay to the rest of us, but it seems to fit the bill for kind of what I'd asked for earlier in maybe even the last episode, where someone that's comfortable across the front line. You know, he could play in the two, or could maybe play off the side, similar to like an Eliuano or Martin Boyle as well, because I think that is what we need. Where if you're going to play with 2 strikers and like in that sort of 3-5-2, you're not going to necessarily have loads of specialist wingers. So having your forward players being capable of playing as that sort of central striker in a 2, or if we need to change things up, being comfortable in the wide area, I think is really important. I said I didn't pay too much attention to the game at the weekend, but the reports all, and from what I did see, seemed fairly positive, and they sort of brought a little bit of spark to what had been a fairly dull afternoon after he came on, caveated with the fact it's 10 minutes at the end of pre-season friendly. You know, but no, we'll see. We were just talking about Dylan Venti. Like, there's no guarantee that, you know, you go and spend big money on a striker and there'll be a success, but where's the fun in that? He's going to come in and score 25 goals and move on for £10 million to Bournemouth in 2 years' time or something. That's the dream, innit? But I think it's hard. Like, there was no. You're right, Harry. It was 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Like, they just dropped it. There was no paper talk. There was no rumours on social media. There was nothing. Bang, there we go. Here's your striker. Hibs have just potentially paid up. The chat is that it's £1 million, first team outside of Celtic and Rangers in 30 years to pay £1 million for a player. Like, it's insane. And I mean, credit goes to, I think, the Gordons and the wider board, and I don't know if Black Knights were involved in sort of and HSL and stuff and releasing the funds to do it. But the ambition's there, and you know, hopefully it comes good.
And Craig, with that, do you reckon that means that we can say there's about 7,000 people on our season ticket waiting list now, or is that not how it works? I'm still a bit confused on how that happens.
Sorry, news. Oh, carry on, you.
No, you go. It's fine, mate. Sorry.
I was just going to say that warm-up kit is absolutely sticking out.
It's lovely, isn't it?
That's one he's put on there. That the heart badge is beautiful as well. I'm loving that.
See, to be fair, like when they put it on like the social media, like I didn't love the thistle on it, but see when you see it like on the kit, I think it looks really cool. Although it does also just look like a heart put like a Superman cape on it, doesn't it? But no, I was going to say, you're talking about waiting lists, Harry. Did you see the boy that tweeted out like the actual gate, like the actual numbers through the gate last year, and how Hibs were just ahead of Hearts, like on average attendance? I clicked on it, and obviously all the replies come up, and there's this Hearts fan on there that's like, Hibs have been giving tickets away for free, and like just getting so angry and like totally arguing with himself. Be like, of course, folk did they want to go to bottom 6 games and all that, and I'm like, he just doesn't understand how averages work. Yeah, you can't just. He came up with like 5 reasons why basically 50% of Hearts home games this season should they have been like included in the average season attendance, and obviously those of Gorgie persuasion generally don't do very well with anything charitable or looking out for your community. So giving tickets to schools and in the communities obviously to be frowned upon at any level.
Okay, but they do give away cardigans because they make too many to keep them all for themselves. But I'm just going to quick fire the last few signings. So we signed our boy up top. I don't want to butcher his name again. And then we also got Craig's best mate, Josh Mulligan. And then we also got Ewan's best mate, I don't know why, Raphael Solinger.
He's still 6'7", by the way.
6'7", by the way. No small. And then we got Liam's best mate because he's Irish, and that's Jamie McGrath. And that leaves our squad looking like this. Just pretend the Del Ferrier box isn't there. But apart from that, that's a current look at the squad. Dave, coming to you first on this one, is there anywhere that you want to add in particular? Anything you think we can strengthen in here?
There's one very, very obvious Greek Australian that I'd like to add to that chart there. My I think maybe a couple of weeks ago when we last recorded was a pacey forward, or two was my main one. Well, actually, I think it was a pacey forward, and then a sort of more experienced Dwight Gale, Adam Lafondra type player. So maybe one more up the top. I remain unconvinced on Ellie Yuan about what we're going to get out of him. Early signs for me, I know obviously we all love him on this podcast, but I'm completely honest, early signs aren't great for me. I'm not 100% liking what I'm seeing body language wise, but I don't know if that's just a more cynical side getting the better of me. So yeah, one, possibly two forwards. Defensive midfielder in the shape of Nectar Triantis, which I'm sure we'll come on to. I'm just thinking, when you look at that chart, that Jack Iredale left-sided centre-half's looking a wee bit sort of bare, but I think Jordan Abita can drop back in there, so I don't know if that becomes as much of a worry.
So I have some concerns, I think. No, I'm saying concerns. I'm really happy with the core defensive group that we have currently. I think extending Jordan Abita for another year was another sensible bit of business from the club, and it meant that Lewis Miller's the only sort of defender that we have that's out of contract in 12 months' time, and ultimately it's a unit that worked really well last season, sort of from sort of December onwards. However, I think we can improve on O'Hora or Ekpiteta, potentially both. I think we can definitely improve on Megwa if we feel we need it, but if Miller was to stay, I don't actually think, I think he could leave and it would be fine. I do have a concern that Jordan Obita and Rocky Bushiri are both likely to be called up to AFCON this year, with the first game taking place just before Christmas. Looking at their groups, I would guess at this point in time that Obita will only have 3 group games, but I think Rocky's nation will progress out their group, and very quickly I think that leaves you in a situation where you could be looking at, like, I don't know, just like a bit awkward, like I don't love the thought of like a Miller, O'Hara, Iredale. I think if you take Rocky out of there, I don't know. So maybe just another centre back I think would be important. probably one that's more left-hand sided dominant. This is on the assumption that Lewis Miller stays, of course, just to cover for Iredale, and then maybe someone that would be comfortable playing on the left of the three or in the middle, I think, is what we need. Because we've seen at the start of last season that O'Hara definitely wasn't a left-hand sided centre back. And I think that would be my only concern. And again, it's a good problem to have. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about it will only be for a couple of weeks, and I don't think you should go and panic buy someone for a 2-week period. But I don't think it takes much to say Jordan will beat us away on international duty, and Nicky Carron gets injured. Who's playing left wing back?
Sorry, just jump in there. Can I just say that was a really terrible use of "it's a good problem to have," because that sounds like a terrible problem to have.
No, but no, it's good. It's good to have players that are playing on the international stage, and it's not like we're sitting here going, "Fucking hell, we need 10 players for the first game of the season," like we did last year. It's we should probably try and tweak something so that for that 2 weeks in January, we're no. Do you know what I mean? It's on the scale of problems, it is a bit like first world problems.
I was going to ask the AFCON. When does that? When does it start? Is it?
I'll tell you now. I wrote it down the other day, but I'll just bring it up. The first game they would miss Dundee. Their last game would be Dundee United away, I think. I'm sure both their opening group games are on the 23rd of December. They play on the same days. 23rd of December, 27th of December, and the 30th of December. Like I say, I would expect Congo to go through. I don't expect who's a beater?
Ugandan.
I looked at their group. I think they're struggling, but Congo are in a group with Benin, Senegal, and Botswana. So I would fancy them to tuck away Botswana and Benin, and progress. So it means that they're missing the derby on the 27th as well. And I just let's say it's hard. I don't think it makes practical sense to be building a squad for what could potentially be a 1.5 week period.
Because you can ultimately, if it's in January, you can. There's the window's open at that point, so you can tweak something if absolutely need be, and add in a defender there if you really have to. I know there was talks a couple of young guys at Bournemouth. One was a left back that was his name was getting dropped a lot. So maybe if he was still about at that point, you could look for something there.
I do, and just to throw in, just so we can move on somewhat. I do think there should be, if it's not Triantis, there needs to be another body in the midfield as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well.
There's, especially with European football starting, and with the way Scottish football's the schedule's made, there is congested periods of time in which you need to rotate players. And I just think with the players we've got, I know Newell and Mulligan are known for having really strong engines. Manny potentially could be that type of player. Levitt isn't. So I think we do need to have at least one extra set of legs in there that can.
Newell was one I was going to touch on, Harry. That obviously I love Joe Newell, but at the moment you would definitely have to put him down as a sort of
rotation option.
But no, because I'm kind of going to say unreliable option, because purely based on injuries at the moment, because you don't really know when he's going to be fit. And when he's going to be back to full steam. So there's a wee unreliable one.
To add on to that as well, I don't love the thought of Campbell or McGrath having to sort of drop in and play a bit deeper. I think we can still improve the squad. I think we probably. So what would we agree? We need a more defensive-minded midfielder, be that Triantis or someone else. Probably a centre back. And maybe still a forward, maybe a more traditional centre forward. I feel like the 4 that we've got listed there are not penalty box scorer. Maybe maybe want that sort of poacher that can come on, like you say, Lafondra Gale, last 10-15 minutes and grab a goal.
I think the ultimate picture from it is at the moment that you've got one position, one player that is a definite needs. That's like a glaring position that we need to fill, and the rest are kind of tweaky, not filler roles, but sort of bulking up your squad a wee bit, maybe.
See, just saying that, would you rather sign a left centre back or a left wing back? Would you rather Obita be seen as that left wing back, sort of cover for Cadden or rotation with Cadden or compete with Cadden, and bring in
I
a
think
genuine
we should
centre
get
back? Or
I think we should get a pacey wing back. I think someone that can actually ball up and down the wing. Because I think Cadden, as good as his delivery is, he's not the type of guy I would expect to consistently take on players. But I think towards the end of games, when you're chasing games, it'd be good to have a faster player on. I just don't think
Obita
or
as
Cadden
like
are that
an
player.
actual, and sort of if you were categorising in this sort of depth chart, have Obita as actually part of the back three as opposed to the five.
Obita's definitely more defensively minded. You can see that when he's on the park, like when we've swapped it last season compared to him and Cadden. Obita, when he comes on, it definitely feels more defensive.
Sorry, maybe I'm positioning my question wrong. I mean, yeah, would you rather, for the way the squad was just now, sign another Jack Iredale or sign another Nicky Cadden? And then, would you have Obita deemed as a left wing back or a centre back? Do you know what I mean? Like, where, like it's like, does that make sense? Like, if you could only sit.
I know it sounds like I'm being difficult, but I want someone that's different to them. If we were to sign someone, if you get me,
it just means like a more attacking or more defensive.
Yeah, I think that Obita fits both positions well, but I think that similar to Lewis Miller, I'd feel more comfortable seeing Obita on. I don't know. I'd feel comfortable seeing Obita in either, but I'd rather, if we were to spend money and bring a player in, I would rather it be someone that can ball up
more
and down
advanced. Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think I agree as well.
Nice. Right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the team lineup from the game against Bolton, and then after I've read it, we can just quickly say, is that our starting 11? And if not, who we're going to change. And as I say, I didn't see the team. I'm just going to assume the positions that everybody played. But we started with. Oh no, there
Are we telling you if they're playing or not as you read it, or at the end?
No, so I've got the team that started, so I'm just going to read them out, and then after I've read them out, you're just going to say that is the starting 11 or that's not, and if you say not, then you're just going to tell me who you want to start on Thursday.
Gotcha.
So we had Smith in goals, we had O'Hora, Rocky, Iredale as our back three, we had Cadden and the Cadden twins as our fullbacks, we had Levitt, Mulligan, McGrath, and then we had Boyle and Bowie up top. Is that the team you expect to start on Thursday?
No. Not far off it, but no.
Who are you, what players are you swapping in there, Ian?
I think Salinger will start in goals. I don't think you spend money on a goalkeeper and then, unless they really haven't liked what they've seen of him so far, I don't think you spend that. I don't think you spend money and go and get him early and then him not play your first competitive game. I think Jordan Obita will start in place of Nicky Cadden. I think Chris Cadden will start, O'Hara will start, Rocket will start. Yep. I think Josh Campbell will play midfield over Dylan Levitt. No.
McGrath.
McGrath. Over McGrath. I think he'll play Campbell, Mulligan, and will he play Levitt? Levitt, Campbell, Mulligan, and midfield. Front two remains the same. So is that 3 changes?
And Craig, what do you think?
Do you know what the main what I'm kind of unsure about is actually the goalie. Totally take what you're saying about you don't spend money on a goalie. I just feel for a big game like that, early doors, I don't know. I've just felt a wee bit of uneasiness from Salinger at the start. In the last,
Craig doesn't look at the pre-season, Harry, except if it's a goalkeeper or Ellie Ewan's body language.
Can I just
I did point out that small conclusions can be drawn. I just think with a big game like this, we're going to be under pressure for large spells of the game. I want my defenders and my goalkeeper to be very comfortable with each other, and I don't think that they've had the time yet to be comfortable enough with each other. Whereas there's a familiarity with Smith and his centre halves at the moment that they've already had a season, so that's my main reason for that one.
I'll be honest, I was surprised that Salinger didn't play at the weekend because the rest of the team did kind of look like this is my
side. He did play a whole half.
True. No, but I just like the starting 11. You could. We're saying Obita might play over Cadden to be a little bit more defensive, but you could look at that team and think very well that with what's available could be our strongest 11. So maybe he does still see Smith as number one.
Being honest, I think with Smith, this game, I'm basing this purely off what people have told me who watched them play against, was it Obdense at the weekend? I think that this seems like the type of team that Gray's going to want to get at. And in fairness to Smith, one of the strengths of his game is he likes to kick the ball quickly. And if we're trying to get Boyle in behind and we're trying to get players up the pitch quickly, I think that's where I've not seen Solinger, but just typically out of bigger goalkeepers, they don't tend to be quite as like swift to the edge of the box to get the ball out. Whereas Smith, that's one thing that he definitely thrived in last year. So that's the reason that for the away game, I'd probably lean towards Smith. I'm not saying I'd pick him. I'm saying I'm just trying to think of how Gray typically sets us up.
It's a really interesting one, though, isn't it? Because like, I get what you're both saying, and especially what Craig said around the familiarity and the comfortability. But if he doesn't play on Thursday and it goes well, he's not going to play next Thursday, which means he's then not going to play. Likely not. Do you know what I mean? Like very quickly, you've signed a goalkeeper that could. I think it's interesting.
It's a long season, mate. You're talking about 2 or 3 games out of what 40, 45 that we're going to play.
And also, I would also say it's not a negative if you've got a number one in the backup, and the new number one has to actually earn his spot. Like
there is, no, 100%. I don't see a world where if you're comfortable with Smith being your number one, that you go and spend money and decent money on a goalkeeper. I don't see that.
It can be a gradual transition rather than just boom, all of a sudden. I think there's a different level of understanding that's needed for a goalkeeper as opposed to a striker. A striker can come in and start straight away.
But when's that coming then if he's not playing?
But if he's not playing at the weekend, you mean?
I
just think it happens. I think that'll happen naturally. Like I say, it's a long season. Rocky didn't barely played a game until like 12, 13 in, and he was arguably a player of the season. So,
Ken, who's a good example? Smith, he didn't play at all, and then he didn't get dropped again for the rest of the year.
100%. Like this, it's just I don't know. I'd be surprised. And by the way, I was really critical of Smith when he first came in the team, and sort of even at various points, I was quite quick to sort of pinpoint and highlight his weaknesses, but. In the grand scheme of things, he was excellent, really, for us last year after and considering a general lack of football in his career, never mind coming to a new club and sitting. I've got nothing but sort of good things to say about Smith. And if Smith plays on Thursday, won't be disappointed. I'll just be surprised. And I do think it's the one position probably that is up for debate. I think it's pretty low. I'd be really surprised if Cadden played over Obita, and I do think. We've seen from David Gray, I think he will turn to Josh Campbell for a game like Thursday.
I think if you play Cadden, it opens you right up, doesn't it? It kind of exposes you a lot. I think we're going to have to be pragmatic, as all managers like to use that term on Thursday. We're going to be, like I said, under spells of massive pressure. That's wow. He put me off majorly there. We're going to be under pressure a lot in the game. There's going to be spells of 10, 15, 20 minutes where we hardly touch the ball, and it's about soaking up that pressure. So I think Cadden would be a good option to bring on to ping balls in the box later on, maybe if you try to chase a goal.
Plus,
ideally, we're not chasing a goal, but
that's where you're seeing the strength of where we are compared to this time last year. And you talk about, we're talking about adding little pieces to the squad and debating what players should start, but we're talking here potentially having players like Ellie Yuan, Junior Hoylett, Jamie McGrath, Nicky Cadden, like Alessandro Mane. We're sort of still to see what he's all about. But there's 5 players straight away that you think would maybe be able to come off the bench and actually do something. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this time last year, it was very much like, if you don't mind, I just want to reverse slightly. Craig, can you just tell me and you and all our wonderful listeners, in what situation would we possibly be chasing a goal on Thursday coming?
Eh?
You said if we were chasing a goal on Thursday, when would we possibly be chasing a goal?
I don't know. If you're 3-0 down, you need to get back into the tie.
I will want to concede it again. I don't think you'd concede. You wouldn't chase a goal in the first tie.
Oh, I disagree.
I don't know.
No, that's nonsense.
Just at 3-0 game, tie's dead. So you think, well, we need to get a goal going back to Easter Road. So maybe the last 10 minutes you go, right, we'll have a wee go for it here.
I think even if you're...
I thought that was unreasonable.
I think that's daft.
I don't think... I don't think even if the game's 0-0 that Hibs will sit in the entirety of the game. I think if the game's 0-0 with 15 minutes to go, he'll try and score a goal and get a lead.
But I wouldn't say that's chasing a goal. Chasing a goal to me means when you're like backs against the wall and you're all out going for it and no caring if you can see at the other end. I just didn't think there's going to be a situation where we're chasing a goal.
I think you've just taken the very extreme
up,
end of what I've said. I don't think what I said was in the context of anything extreme, bringing Nicky Cadden on to put balls in the box to try and get a goal.
To be chasing a goal.
No, but look, Harry, if we're trailing by 2 goals, and if I even use your own logic against you there, like what if you concede another one? Well, if you're comfortable chasing a 2-goal lead at home, you'll be comfortable chasing a 3-goal lead.
Well, the good thing is, boys, we're coming into predictions anyway.
Tell him to shut up, good luck dealing with him.
see, the thing is, I just thought, you know what, I'm Team Ewan here. I've not slagged off Craig all episode. I'll just get a digging at him. And then Ewan, for some reason, is taking Craig's side. All right, noted Ewan.
Always.
Right, glad you got 2 in a row. That's probably your record. Anyway, let's look at predictions for this game. Being honest, I don't know too much. I know they've got a fun named striker who's supposedly very, very good at football that we should be worrying about.
Really good goal at the weekend.
What was his name? Was it like
Francolini, I think. He looks a player, by the way. He looks a player. He's going to be trouble.
So being realistic, exactly. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't think we're keeping a clean sheet, but I'm going to also be honest to Thomasburg. You're listening. I think you're going to get pumped, mate. I reckon it's going to be 3-1 Hibs. I reckon we're going to go there. Francolini's going to score early. They're going to be getting on their high horse, and we're going to go and spank them about the place and take them back to Easter Road and spank them again. But 3-1 Hibs is my prediction for Thursday, boys.
I don't know how to follow that up.
I actually thought we were going to talk about the game a little bit. I didn't think we were going to go straight into score predictions.
Well, I just got angry thinking about how his name's Double Thomas, so get up.
I think... Now, this is based on a 4.5-minute highlight package from their game at the weekend. They play a very high line, and they looked very uncomfortable at the back in terms of, as Craig was talking about, that comfortability with goalkeeper and defence. Just the mistakes is all I would say they were. They were just mistakes. Defenders that didn't look comfortable facing their own goal, that's for sure. If you can turn them, which you should be able to do with a high line. We have the players to expose that, and Boyle and Bowie, even Campbell if he plays sort of from deep, as we saw in games against Celtic and Rangers last year at Ibrox and Easter Road. I think it will be 2-2. And what I actually think is it'll be 3-1 name, but 2-2 is my...
That's what I was going to say. Am I going the down the slope prediction or am I going the realistic prediction? If I'm putting my down the slope Hibs hat on, I think purely just the reasons Ewan's listed there. The high line, pacing behind, nick a goal late on. I'm going to go 1 each, but I think there's every chance we could be in for a bit of a scudding, if I'm honest. I'm going into this with the same sort of hat on that I do with Celtic and Rangers, or mainly Celtic, to be fair. When you go to Celtic Park, you're just thinking, right, avoid a scudding. And if we can come out losing by a goal or two, it's a decent enough afternoon or evening. So yeah, avoid a scudding. See, the only thing when you were talking about the goals that they conceded at the weekend, I watched the exact same highlights. When I heard 3 goals initially that they conceded, I was like, oh, brilliant. They've conceded 3 goals. And then I watched it. 2 of them are just pure howler mistakes that I don't think are going to be too repeatable. They could be. You could draw the conclusion, well, clearly they're open to mistakes and all that, but I think they're just mistakes. So I don't think
I do agree. I do agree with you. I just think the 2 mistakes that we're talking about before the penalty, they are from similar passages of play. And even again, the penalty, it's just the fullback getting sort of squared up 1v1 and panicking. Like, they look rash. Now, I suppose in every football season, I think you generally see shit like that more often than not at the start of a season as well. So maybe it's a good time to play them. I'm looking at this like similar to what Craig said, Harry, where I think what we are trying to do here is the equivalent of probably beating Celtic over 2 legs. I think that is sort of the level of opposition that we're playing. They got through the Europa League group phase last year, I believe. It's not impossible. It's absolutely not impossible. I think regardless, we will have a chance at Easter Road. I don't agree with Craig that I'm not fearing a pumping. I don't, and we're not big enough to get this to get clipped up anyway. I don't feel like this team really gets pumped. I think the manager sets us up in a way that will sort of allow for that. Look, we might lose fucking 4-1 or something, but like I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think we will be proud. No, I just said I don't see it. Like, I think we'll be pragmatic enough to avoid that. I actually might go through. I know I said it might be like beating Celtic over 2 legs. I think we'll go. I think we'll get to Easter Road with Santa play for.
We're not playing Barcelona at the end of the day. No. It is well possible. Like it is possible, but it's definitely an unlikely end of possible.
I tell you what, if they needed any extra incentive, Harry, the draw today for the next round and in each respective competition, I think.
So weird one. So let me just take this for a couple of. I was really confused because in this graphic that I'm showing here, this is like Hibs in the next round. We're playing against this team called like Fredrikstad. Yeah, we're playing this Norwegian team. We're playing this Norwegian team. For some reason, they've still kept the Midtjylland badge in there. Don't know what they're doing. But then the Conference League, they've put both badges in and dumped another 2 teams in. Like, fair play. They're showing us who Midtjylland are going to play after we pump them. But I don't really understand why both, like, you think that as a professional organisation, the Conference League and the Europa League, they would understand the difference between the two.
Standards dropping at UEFA, Harry, yeah.
It's shocking, mate. It's shocking. But obviously, Craig, you got to be happy. Small Norwegian team after we beat a small Danish team. We're pretty much in a good, in all seriousness, if we get through, essentially we become the seeded team because we take the coefficient off Midtjylland and we become the seeded team. So we would play a Norwegian team that won the cup last year and aren't the best. So if we actually get through this, if we're putting our positive hats on, it actually looks like we've got a really good chance and shot at group stage football, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's probably our most favourable route, ironically. Backwards kind of way. But your most difficult ties up first, and then if you get through that, then I would say
get rewarded.
You then flip to being the favourites for that one. So just you never know. You never know.
But in fairness, Ewan, it is nice of them to show us who Midtjylland are playing in the Conference League after we knocked them out. So what do you think?
It's really generous.
It's
really generous. I certainly wouldn't fancy about Partizan, that's for sure. However, I think some of the reaction to that has been over the top and all. I think we're playing a better team on Thursday than what they are. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, I don't think people should be going into the game on Thursday. You know, like if they've got, like, if you feel like we've got a chance on Thursday, if over the 2 legs it doesn't go our way, then don't just write us off in the next game, because I do think, regardless of what happens, I actually think we are playing a lesser standard of team. I think whether that's Europa League or Conference League, and whether it's any one of the 3 teams that we could potentially draw across whatever competition it is, I do like there is in my opinion, a drop down in standard there, as you would expect, obviously going from Europa League to Conference League. However, ironically, I do think that Belgrade are better than the team that we would play in the Europa League. Look, Harry, why not, mate? Do you know what I mean? Like we came on here after the at the end of the season. I'm saying we. I don't know if I actually did or not. We were quite downbeat after the cup final. It sort of went against us in terms of how we were hoping for. And at the time, we said that it would be nigh on impossible for Hibs to get group stage football, I think. And then I think we got a real tough draw, maybe the hardest draw we could have got at this stage of the group. But then maybe if we can get through this, that's the little bit of luck that we need. And we need to win 2 ties out of 3, basically, and you'll have group. That's right. Eh? If we were
as long as they're in a row.
It's 2. Well, because if you lose 2 in a, like,
if you win this in the next, then you're guaranteed. But
Yeah, well, you're not getting the third. Like, aye, but why not, mate? Why not? Honestly, like, there should be a really good feeling about the place, and sometimes seasons finish and a couple of things happen here and there, and I just hope that like some iffy pre-season results hasn't dampened anyone's spirits, because I tell you what, I've enjoyed the break. I've enjoyed thinking that Hibs might beat Ajax much more than I would have enjoyed going to get rattled off of Stirling Albion and having a wee social media battle with them and hyping myself up to being the second coming of God. And I'm quite comfortable where Hibs are, and I'm sure we'll make a good account of us in Europe this season, regardless of how long that goes for.
Aye, well, we've got some questions in, because I always forget to do questions.
I know, we've probably covered them all.
Yeah, I thought what you said there was quite beautiful, so I just thought we'd move on from that and leave that kind of hanging in there. So well done.
Thanks,
but Dave Graham, for some reason, sent in saying Ukraine or Belgrade for the next game. So, Craig, if you were a Midtjylland fan, where would you rather be going?
Can we just check? Is that the right pronunciation? Sorry,
mate. Every time he says it for the last 10 minutes, I've been busting it laughing, because that is a poor attempt, Harry.
What is pronounce it then, Craig?
Nah.
Right. Oh, okay.
FCM.
That's cowardly. That is cowardly.
I think that's a good attempt to Midtjylland. FC Midtjylland.
Midtjylland, I think.
Unlucky, Harry. You've just been done, mate.
By the way, I don't know. I've been calling them Midgetland, so honestly,
you're both wrong. I'm right. That's it. End of.
I'll never do that again.
What was the question? Ukraine or Belgrade? Well, it's a bit of a poor choice. Eh? You either pick 30 or 40 missiles on your head, or getting scalped about the place by some Serbian fucking casuals.
And that was said by Craig. And just so that doesn't get too much of your time, Ewan. Kev also said, is our squad currently stronger now than it was last season?
Yeah, I think so. Aye, I think it just about is. Aye.
I think you throw in one cheeky wee player in the middle of the park, and I think that it definitely is. But until he's joined, I need to see the team play.
But then you have signed Mulligan that can play in there.
Mulligan and McGrath.
A bit more advanced, but I'm just trying to weigh this up perfectly. Like, from the starting 11, who's gone? Is it just Triantis?
I think so.
So then
Manny's seems a bit more of an option now as well.
So then you've got to then suggest that McGrath's coming in to start. Bowie's fully fit. Mulligan's coming in to start. The goalkeeper's probably coming in deemed as like a start. You know what I mean? Like, so I would think you would have to. You've got two goalkeepers that you think are good enough to be number one at this point in time. Your defense is much the same. Aye, I think. I don't think there's much in it, but I think the signings it's like we've not made loads of signings, but I think the signings we've made have been sensible and positive and should all impact the team. So I would edge yes, but I do agree. Like, Triantis at this point in time is a miss from that team.
And speaking of Triantis, Craig, you can give me a yes or no answer initially. If Triantis wasn't to return, is there anyone in particular? So would you be able to suggest a player you'd like to see us replace him with?
Now, there was a couple of rumblings about defensive midfielders early in the window, I think. I could not even give you names.
Boy, there was a Hull, but he went and signed for Bolton.
Bolton.
Xavier Simmons or something.
Yeah, he played at the weekend. I'm sure there was another one in some Portuguese media that was reported for a bit that we were apparently interested in. But no, I don't really have any names, to be quite honest with you, but I'm sure the supercomputers that aren't exclusive to a certain Edinburgh club will be getting used for that one.
Nice. And then SF said, how do you think Sir David Gray will change formation to fit new players in? I think we just rock with the same system. I don't see if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think that's the best we've looked literally statistically in many, many years. So I just think we stick with that.
I don't see that there's any players that wouldn't be able to. I don't think we've signed anyone that you can't see a role for in that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's been an outlier. We've not went and spent £1 million on a right winger. Do you know what I mean? We've signed players that fit the current setup. Another sign of a sensible football club.
And final question, I know we've already answered it, but let's just answer it again, because Paul Mackay, we're going to come to you, my friend. He said, how many more players do you guys think we need? I feel we need 3, 1 up top, 1 midfield, 1 centre half. So Ewan just literally say it like that, bullet point them.
Not exactly that.
Yep.
I think, and that's probably baseline without anyone going out in terms of sort of more senior players. I think then, you know, you adjust your requirements. I think anyone that was to leave that's in and around the first team would also need to be replaced on top of that.
Nice. Okay, again, any other misses you think we can fill, or are you happy if we get those 3 in?
I think as long as without losing anybody, I think that's kind of what you'd be looking at.
Can we have I might, when I done the document, missed a question, Harry, if that was the last one. Can we have a wee chat about the Triantis situation, if that's all right? I'm keen to get your guys' take on it.
If you want. So I just assumed that we'd already covered that, but go for it.
Well, I think I generally have a slightly different stance than from what I've seen majority like online and in group chats and stuff. If Hibs think he is that player, then I think you wait, personally. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. Like, but if it gets like, do you know what I mean? If the message coming from the player is or Sunderland, you know, maybe Sunderland, because this is the thing, he is a contracted football player by Sunderland, are well within their rights to see what the market is. Do you know what I mean? What the interest is. I've seen people saying like we need to set deadlines. That like if he's not, I've seen some people saying if he wasn't going to sign before the game on Thursday, then we should be moving on. Like it's such a big game, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I think if we think he's the player he is, then I think we should be, because we will still be active. We will still be looking at other players. We will still understand the market and what's available to us. But I don't think you should pull the plug. Like I don't think you should pull the plug out on Triantis too quickly. I really don't. I think if it seems likely he's going to leave Sunderland this summer, and I would be really disappointed if Hibs put ourselves in a position where we couldn't try and capitalise on that.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be too hasty, but I actually do obviously understand the concerns that people are saying, and obviously David Gray did highlight that in his Sky interview. He said they're not going to wait around forever. But I think ultimately there is obviously, the club are obviously getting some sort of signs and feelings from Triantis and his camp, if you like, that there's still something there. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be hanging about. If Hibs thought there was little to no chance of it happening, we would have moved on a long time ago. There's obviously still something there. That's not to say it's definitely going to happen. But I think he's absolutely before the window opened, I would have put him as the main guy to go and get again. So I think you have to give it the appropriate time to try and get him. Obviously, there's a wee bit of bad taste left in the mouth with Luke McCowan at Celtic. Obviously, we waited on that, and well, it's not even so we waited. We were trying to get him, obviously, and it didn't work out, and it turned into a bit of a saga, as I like to say.
But then the stance on that has been, that basically there was funds that were being released from the owner for that player because they felt he was that level. Do you know what I mean? Like that. It wasn't. It literally was a case of him or no one, and in terms of the funds that they ring fenced. And I just think, Harry, I do want to hear your thoughts on it as well, because I think you might be slightly different from me, but the rumour mill has been quiet this summer for Hibs, but we've still done business. The Jamie McGrath signing came a bit out of the blue when we'd done the pre-contract, if you remember, on like a random Tuesday or something. The goalkeeper there was like one article a week before or something, then it died down and it was announced. Mulligan came out of the blue. The agent obviously just paid for Romano to tweet it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that was just the night before that came out of the blue. Like, all the signing the other week on the Sunday morning, like, I find that is also playing into like people getting a little bit restless with Triantis because we're not seeing daily stories about Hibs negotiating with Sunderland, or we're not seeing daily stories of Hibs negotiating for other players. Maybe there's a train of thought of we're just sitting twiddling our thumbs, and I can't believe that would be the case.
I just think if he's I just think fucking sign him. I don't give a fuck. If it's the end of the fucking window, I think we're in the right spot. Just sign him. If another club come in and offer him more money, goes to them, then that's just life as a football fan, unfortunately. I don't think there's a problem. I think midfield is a place that it's not too bad to be oversaturated. I think that you can get away with rotating the players quite easily. So if we've got a backup option instead of Triantis, if he has to come in and play second fiddle because he's not got his thumb at his arse to come down the road in time, then just make him wait to get his way back into the team.
But then we're talking about like earlier, like we need a sort of specific type, I would imagine. And if it's not Triantis, you would expect they were. I don't think we'd be signing someone that maybe to go American football. I think they might be chewing up too much of our salary cap to have. Do you know what I mean? But I think even just on a personal level, I think he's got a lot to think. Do you know, he's now at a Premier League side. He might. I think he's within. He's not. I don't think he's going to play there, but he's within his rights to hang around there as much as he can. And I think he's got question marks and like sort of internally of what nation he wants to represent. It's a World Cup year. Like I don't know. I think patience is required with that one. And personally, I think it's a situation that's entitled to be given it. I don't think there should be restlessness around it. It's frustrating. Look, you'd love to have him in by now, but.
I believe the Sunderland manager kind of said that they were going to look at him for a couple of weeks, which I think would probably be about a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully there'll be some movement on it in the next fortnight or so.
I didn't notice he registered him as a defender.
He's fucked. He's not playing for them.
Didn't care what he's doing.
That's good for us.
No, but the thing is for me, if Triantis wants to be at Hibs, I think regardless of when it is, I'm happy for that to be the case. I think realistically, as you say, I think it is his choice. I don't think it's up to Hibs whether Triantis is a Hibs player. I think it's if like Sunderland will have offers, if we want to make that offer, it's still down to Triantis. I think that he needs to, as you say, in a World Cup year, he needs to look at the fact that he's became a full internationalist. I don't know if he's actually played, but he's been called up to the squad. But he's been called up to the squad whilst being a Hibs player, and now we're in a better position than we were last year. It's like players need to start realising that if you play for Hibs, there's a good chance you can play for your nation if you're not one of the top nations. Like we consistently churn out players that will play for their national sides. Like it wouldn't be even. When you go.
So I was going to say potential for 2 7-figure transfer fees spent in the one window as well. Billionaire Bills Hibs. That's it.
Just sorry to keep us dragging on, boys. I feel like Harry's been edging to get this finished for a while. But do you know we signed Dwight Gale following? Sorry, Harry. Me? What I say? Fuck me for? Do you know we signed Dwight Gale from that following that PFA thing last year? Couple of standout additions that I think we should be looking at from the PFA pre-season. Just looking at their list of players that are there for week 4.
Go on.
Maximilian Boric. Dylan McGeoch.
Dylan McGeoch.
Couple of Harry favourites.
Get the band back together.
He captained the side to relegation from League 2 last year. I think that ship might have sailed. I just thought go and bring Boric back, send Murray Johnson out on another loan and bring him back in on a year's contract. There is actually a couple of interesting players, like just names away, just names you recognise for Soccer Saturday or FIFA or whatever. But Angus Gunn's still not got a club. What would you say? The Scotland number 1 still not got a club? I think that's interesting.
Not required.
No, I know. Just sorry, I'm just looking. Let's say I'm just.
Is Sam Cosgrove not on that as well?
He is.
He has elbows in a few people's faces.
I reckon they'll they'll put him through the system and he'll be signed up for that cardigan wearing bunch.
I don't know. I think that one might just be too on the nose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
fair. Like I think that's one of them where Dell's going, "Oh, come on, please, just please, just ignore him."
Computer says no.
Do you know? Can someone tell me? Like, I'm not even saying Hibs should sign him. Connor McElney, was he? Did he ever play up here? McElney. The names.
We love you too, mate. But I don't care what you're doing to drag this pod on, mate. I don't understand what's going on here. I'll give you a fun question.
I've just had a howler. I thought Hibs had been linked to him in the past. I've just realised I done a Salford City Football Manager save, and that's where I recognise his name.
Oh my god!
Harry,
a fun question to wrap it up, boys. You can kick us off because you've not done an away day in Europe yet, have you?
No.
Right, well, thinking of home games only. Thinking of home games only, what has been your favourite Hibs game in Europe?
Oh,
You have to have attended. You can't have watched it on the TV or that.
oh God, a few and far between. Oh Jesus. Craig, if you can think.
Craig,
I'm getting home and away, am I?
No, so Jane, I'm struggling.
You can do what you want, Craig, mate. The floor is yours.
Right.
You need to think.
I'd probably all-round experience. I'd probably go for Bromby. To be honest, I think that would have been my first European away day, and I just thought all round everything involved in that trip, it was class. The other ones, there was you were missing one of like the key things, like the atmosphere, the food, the match itself, the trip. Like each of the trips missed something, probably bar Bromby. Obviously, the slight takeaway or minus point for that one was losing the penalty shootout. But I'll be honest, I actually didn't give a fuck. To be fair, by the end of that, I was just so buzzing. Like the scenes at that goal were unreal. The day before, the night before the match as well, I think we done Warburton's a fanny for like 4 hours straight. The night before the game, it was just everything involved, and it was good. So I would go Bromby.
What was missing from Lausanne?
That's very true, actually. Lausanne was good as well.
And I had a win as well.
No, we didn't. We drew.
We drew.
But we won the tie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. No, that's a valid point, but I'd probably just pick Bromby because it was my first one.
Plus, Bromby was like the vibes, wasn't it? Like
After
coming off the cup and Lausanne at home, Harry. That would be
did you not go to Astros at home?
Nah, me and Greg were playing a charity match that night. Mate, honestly, like summertimes I know. Wow, mate, I'm not going to the. I'm not in the country. I'm not going to be at either the home or away leg of the next round either.
Folks, get him slagged in the comments. It's essential because that is so poor. I'm looking at you, Jane, Sandy, Davy Granules. Get him roasted.
I just.
Where's you and guys? Let's get the book out. Where's you?
I was on holiday. I'm on holiday for the home and away leg over the next in the next European game. Aye, so there you go. And I had to cancel plans for the fucking home leg against Midgetland, Migeland, whatever. Like genuinely,
that's
honestly.
worse than you, Harry. By the way, just so you know.
Migeland.
That's just Migeland. Nah, Mitchland, isn't it?
Well, guys, the good news is, listen, everybody, all the Hibs fans listening, don't worry. We've actually started a business now. If you want to go to the Hibs games at the weekend and you need your dog sat, your kids looked after, Ewan's got no plans. So hit this man up and he will do whatever tasks you need done during the Hibs games because he's no gone. He's no gone.
This, by the way, this fucking narrative is unacceptable. Honestly.
It's not narrative, mate. It's a fucking fact.
Ewan, in my defense, yeah, listen. You listed off about 5 games on the spin there that you've no been to. Like you just laid it up. You laid it up.
I listed off one. I literally said I wasn't at Asteras because and then
what about the next 2 games?
What games?
You said you're missing the next ties, the away ones.
Oh, because I booked a fucking holiday when we were bottom of the league.
I so it wasn't just a game, was it?
Lack of belief, mate. Just a lack of belief. It's actually weak.
No,
yeah.
I just.
I was slagging, but I went around the world to Southeast mainland Asia, HSC. So I can't really criticize that. But I didn't miss any European games, to be fair.
No, you're just a glory hunter then. That's what I'm hearing.
Mate,
you were
3:30 in the morning, waking up for Dundee United.
Booked to go fucking travelling while we were sitting bottom of the league because you couldn't hack it, and then came back early to catch the European.
And I'm just lonely, so I go to all the games.
Apart from Christmas time, you butcher bitch. Anyway, on that happy note, we have covered off a lot more than I thought we were, to be honest, because Hibs. But boys, absolutely buzzing. It was so nice to speak to you as always. Thank you guys for listening. If you ever make it this far, we're very proud of you because even we can't make it this far. But more on the cabbage, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers.